All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're moving way past the theoretical. We're going to dive into exactly how large language models are completely transforming the way we build structured knowledge networks. We are looking at a fundamental shift in data engineering and historical analysis, and it's absolutely fascinating.
So let's just tackle the ultimate question right out of the gate. Can LLMs really do the heavy lifting of knowledge graph construction? Well, the answer is a resounding yes. And we aren't just speculating here. We're going to prove it by looking at a real, massive production project from the Rockefeller Archive Center. We'll see exactly how decades of totally unstructured historical text were transformed into a highly structured, queryable knowledge graph. Think about the sheer scale of the journey here. You start with messy, unstructured human history, documents, diaries, raw text, and the end goal is to turn all of that into clean, queryable, structured data in the form of a knowledge graph. Traditionally, getting from point A to point B required training highly specific, incredibly custom natural language processing models. But today, LLMs act as this incredibly intelligent engine right in the middle, processing raw text, recognizing relevant entities, and mapping them directly to a target schema. To truly appreciate this architecture, we really need to understand the massive historical challenge we're dealing with. So, back in the 1930s, the Rockefeller Foundation was funding massive scientific research. I'm talking everything from the development of early cyclotrons to groundbreaking biomedical research and social sciences. And for decades, the records of all this philanthropic work just sat there in undigitized program officer diaries and correspondence. These officers traveled around, met with researchers, and just jotted down their notes, effectively capturing the hidden networks of scientific influence of the era. But of course, these records were completely unstructured. I mean, just to give you a taste of what the raw input actually looks like, imagine these diaries hastily hammered out on 1930s typewriters. You're dealing with crazy abbreviations, shortcuts, typos, and some incredibly niche, domain-specific nomenclature. An officer might literally just jot down a researcher's initials or invent a shorthand for a university on the fly. Standard text analysis, it practically completely falls apart here. You definitely can't just run a simple keyword search and expect to map out the complex grant awarding process or understand the relationships between these researchers. Modeling the archive graph. So how do we actually solve this? Well, before we just unleash the LLMs on this chaotic sea of text, we need a precise architectural blueprint. The absolute crucial point here is establishing the metagraph beforehand. Think of the LLMs as our incredibly capable construction workers. They can build almost anything, but if you don't hand them a blueprint, they're going to build a structurally unsound house. The metagraph is that blueprint. It defines the exact schema, the node types we actually care about, like person, organization, document, grant, research topic, and university, and the specific rigid rules for how they're allowed to connect to one another. Now, a really vital design choice for this particular project is the text-paired graph approach, which is sometimes called a text-attributed graph. In this model, the source documents themselves, down to the specific diary page or entry, are treated as first-class nodes in the graph. Why does that matter? Because it means every single entity, whether it's a famous researcher or a university, is strictly linked back to the original document page it was extracted from. This is exactly how you ensure your AI system remains completely auditable. You can always trace a fact back to its historical origin. When you're designing this metagraph, you have to carefully balance expressiveness with simplicity. Look, it might be super tempting to create 50 different relationship types to capture every single tiny nuance of human interaction found in those diaries. But remember, an LLM has to follow this schema consistently. Instead of a chaotic web of 50 complex relationships, this project brilliantly opted for about 10 well-defined ones. Relationships like talked with, works on, received grant from, or has title. These 10 relationships cover roughly 90% of the use cases and ensure the LLM actually extracts the data reliably. The LLM extraction pipeline. Let's pop the hood and see how this extraction actually builds out step by step from raw text to a structured graph. So here is the 5-step pipeline that takes all that unstructured input and spits out structured triples perfectly ready for Neo4j ingestion. First up is NER, or Named Entity Recognition. This is where the LLM flags the people, the places, the organizations. Step 2 is Relation Extraction, figuring out how those entities interact. Step 3 is Schema Mapping, forcing those findings strictly into our metagraph blueprint. Step 4 is Normalization, standardizing all the names. And finally, Step 5 is Graph Entity Resolution, which is where we merge any duplicate nodes. Now, here is where the true superpower of using large language models comes into play. You see, LLMs don't just extract facts, they augment them. Let's say a historical diary just mentions a meeting with Dr. Lawrence. A traditional NLP model would literally just extract the string Dr. Lawrence. But an LLM, using its vast general knowledge, it understands the context of 1930s cyclotron research. It infers that this is Ernest O. Lawrence, the famous physicist, and it can actually augment the node with his full name and biographical attributes. That is a real game changer. But right, with that superpower comes a pretty massive responsibility. We have to rigorously track provenance. We've got to strictly separate the cold, hard facts found literally on the page from the AI's external inferences. If the LLM adds the fact that Lawrence was a physicist, that specific property must be explicitly marked as AI inferred, not document extracted. This is non-negotiable because it ensures that every single answer the final system provides remains fully transparent and auditable for historians.
Intellectual network analysis. Once we have all these structured triples completely ready and successfully ingested into our graph database, we finally get to the payoff. When we get to graph-based entity resolution, this is where things get really cool in practice. Because the LLM extracted not just the names, but the actual relationships, we can use the graph structure itself to clean up messy data. For example, if one document mentions UC-Cal and another document mentions University of California, the graph algorithms notice that both entities share the exact same works at relationships with the exact same researchers. The system then confidently says, these are the same, and merges them into a single, clean node. And by running advanced network algorithms on this finalized knowledge graph, we unlock some incredible insights. We can run centrality algorithms like PageRank to discover who the truly most influential people were in the 1930s scientific community. We can detect communities to see which universities collaborated the most frequently. We can trace paths to find the hidden multi-hop connections between a specific researcher and a random grant. The knowledge graph literally reveals hidden influence patterns that were completely invisible to a human just reading individual diary pages.
The value of KGs in the LLM era. Let's zoom back out for a second and see why this architecture isn't just a neat historical trick, but genuinely the future of intelligent systems. This is the absolute key takeaway you should remember from this explainer. It's a virtuous cycle. Large language models provide the massive processing power required to read unstructured text and build knowledge graphs at scale, doing work that would literally take humans decades to finish. And in return, knowledge graphs provide the verified, structured, traceable foundation that LLMs desperately need to avoid hallucinations and provide auditable answers. They make each other fundamentally better.
So this project shows what is absolutely possible right now, transforming decades of messy archival knowledge into a highly queryable, analyzable intelligence network. But, while LLMs make extraction easier, they don't solve everything perfectly out of the box. It leaves us with one massive, completely fascinating challenge. When a document mentions a really common name, how does the system definitively link it to the exact right concept in a global database? That is the complex world of named entity disambiguity, and it's exactly what we will be tackling next time.